Billionaire's unexpected meal turns heartwarming waitress reveals hidden life-changing gesture. In the quaint town of Maplewood, where fields kissed the horizon, the late afternoon sun cast a golden hue over Sarah's diner. On any given day, the worn-out booths creaked under the weight of laughter, as few customers gathered for pancakes and coffee. Whether it was a regular or a newcomer, Sarah greeted them all with her signature warmth, a smile so infectious, it seemed to brighten the dim realities of her life as a single mother. But today was different. Today, a chance encounter would change everything. Carter slid into a booth, his demeanor nearly as out of place as his tailored suit. Rumors swirled around the eccentric billionaire who rarely made a public appearance, yet there he was, flipping through the menu with an air of curiosity. Sarah approached him, her heart pounding. "What can I get you?" she asked, masking her surprise with professionalism. As they chatted over coffee, their lives began to intertwine. Sarah allowed herself to share stories of her late father, a veteran who taught her more than just the value of hard work. He instilled deep convictions about dignity and community. "Dad used to say we're stronger together," she reminisced, her voice steady despite the storm brewing in her heart. Mr. Carter listened, his world of wealth and privilege suddenly illuminated by the struggles of this woman before him. Each word from Sarah painted a vivid picture of the community, the barbecues, neighbors helping one another, the resilience that kept Maplewood standing despite its economic struggles. She spoke of Ethan, her 8-year-old son, who filled their small apartment with laughter and dreams of a brighter future. That day, amidst hearty laughter and the rich aroma of coffee, an unexpected friendship blossomed. But as their time came to an end, Mr. Carter leaned in, his expression solemn yet hopeful. "Sarah," he began, "I want to offer something." His voice trailed off. The silence hung between them, heavy with anticipation. "I want to fund scholarships for the local kids, including Ethan," he finally declared. Hope hit Sarah harder than a freight train. Scholarships meant opportunity. It meant a future she could barely imagine for Ethan, a life where dreams weren't just dreams. Yet, a wave of hesitation swept over her. Could accepting help mean giving up her dignity? Worries tugged at her heart, memories of her father's lessons echoing loudly in her mind. "I appreciate it," but she started, her voice quivering with uncertainty. As protests began to stir in her head, the diner buzzed with whispers, opinions clashing like storm clouds overhead. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Back in her small apartment that night, doubt clawed at her insides. The weight of the world pushed down on her, and every corner of her mind was filled with questions. Had her father taught her to shy away from help? Or was this an opportunity that honored his legacy? Outside, Maplewood buzzed with reactions. Friends became foes as the community grappled with the complexity of pride and necessity. As Sarah lay awake, lost in thought, the horizon of her family's future twisted before her like a tangled road. Would she forfeit her pride, or would she find a way to lift her family while remaining true to her heart? Just as answers seemed to drift away, a chance encounter at the diner the following morning unraveled a shocking twist that could redefine everything, leaving her standing on the brink of a choice that felt monumental. Would she seize the chance, or would her family remain tethered to uncertainty? As the morning sun peeked through the dusty diner windows, it painted stripes of gold across the floor. Sarah rubbed her eyes, still heavy with the weight of yesterday's conversation. Her heart thumped with apprehension, and as she opened the door to the diner, the familiar clinks and clatters soothed her, if only a little. She needed to focus, serve the customers, smile bright, and pretend everything was just fine. The diner felt quieter than usual. Was it the tension lingering in the air? Or was it the brewing storm inside her? She set her purse down and began her morning routines, pouring coffee, flipping pancakes, and exchanging pleasantries, but her mind kept drifting back to Mr. Carter's unexpected proposal. Then, the bell jingled, breaking her reverie. A woman, probably in her 60s, walked in. She wore a knitted shawl that looked like it had seen better days. Her face was lined with experience, and her eyes sparkled with kindness. Sarah recognized her immediately. Mrs. Thompson, a staple in Maplewood, known for her homemade pies and a heart big enough to embrace the whole town. "Good morning, Mrs. Thompson. Coffee?" Sarah offered without missing a beat. Mrs. Thompson smiled warmly. "You know it, dear. And I think I'll treat myself to a slice of that apple pie." As Sarah busied herself at the counter, Mrs. Thompson's placid gaze stayed on her. "You look troubled, my dear. Is something weighing on your heart?" Sarah hesitated, then sighed. "It's just a lot has changed since yesterday." She took a deep breath, weighing the risk of sharing her internal struggle. "A billionaire offered to fund scholarships for the kids in town, including my son. But I'm afraid I don't want to seem like I can't stand on my own 2 feet." Mrs. Thompson set her coffee cup down. "Sarah, there's strength in knowing when to accept help. Your father taught you about pride, but he also undoubtedly valued community, didn't he?" "That's it," Sarah replied, her voice a mere whisper. "I want Ethan to have every opportunity, but I don't want to feel like I'm taking charity." Mrs. Thompson leaned closer, her voice gentle yet firm. "Sometimes, giving is the hardest part of being a part of a community. If Mr. Carter's intentions are good, then let him help. You are not just accepting a handout, you would be allowing a man to share in the joy of your son's future." But even as Mrs. Thompson spoke, doubts lingered on the edges of Sarah's mind. Would the townsfolk see it that way? She remembered the whispers, the side glances. The last thing she wanted was to be judged or pitted. As the morning rolled on, other regulars began to trickle in. Conversations buzzed around her, but they felt distant. Just as she was about to snap out of her thoughts, in walked Mr. Carter, not in a suit today, but in worn jeans and a casually fitted flannel that looked surprisingly comfortable. "Morning, Sarah. Mind if I join you?" he asked, his voice carrying an unexpected warmth. Her heart raced, and a million thoughts flashed through her mind. How could she face him after everything? But before she could respond, he plopped down across the booth, his presence filling the moment like a sudden spark. "I've been thinking about our conversation, and I'd like to clarify a few things," he continued, sincerity etched across his face. "I believe in giving back, and I see potential in this town, especially in kids like Ethan." The world around them faded as Sarah found herself wrapped up in his words. Did she really have it in her to consider this? Before she could respond, a commotion erupted from the diner door. In rushed a group of locals, their chatter grew louder as they spotted Mr. Carter. Whispers of curiosity darted through the air, and Sarah's stomach churned nervously. What would they say? How would this moment unfold? As Mr. Carter looked around, an unexpected question hung unspoken between them, uniting their fates in that very instant. Could this unexpected rendezvous open the door to something deeper, both for her community and her family? And just like that, amidst the brewing storm of opinions and judgments, Sarah found herself teetering on the edge of a decision she never thought she'd have to make. Would she take a leap into the unknown, or would she pull back, clinging to the safety of her doubts? The air in the diner shifted like a sudden gust of wind. The locals, bustling and eager, circled around Mr. Carter, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Sarah felt every gaze dart between her and him. She could almost hear their thoughts racing. Who does he think he is? What is he doing here? Mr. Carter smiled, unfazed by the attention, but Sarah's heart raced. Would they see him as a savior or a pretender? She felt pinned under the weight of their judgment, and for a moment, all she could do was stare at her hands, gripping the edge of the counter. "Sarah," he said, breaking the uncomfortable silence. "I just want the town to know I have good intentions. I believe in the people here, and I want to invest in their futures." "Mornin', Mr. Carter. Lou, a burly man with a booming voice, waved as he approached the booth. You funding our kids' future, huh? What's in it for you? The question hung in the air like a threat. Sarah glanced at Mr. Carter, bracing herself for his response. Nothing but the hope that I can help, he replied, his tone steady and calm. These kids deserve opportunities, and I want to be a part of it. We can all win together. Sarah felt her anxiety ease slightly. There was something genuine in his voice, yet the tension in the diner didn't lift. She could sense their skepticism, a tight coil ready to spring. Someone from the back shouted, "Easy for you to say. But we know nothing about you." Mr. Carter nodded, acknowledging their doubt. That's fair. I'm still getting to know this community, but I believe in transparency, too. Let us have a town hall meeting. I want to hear your concerns and I want you to know I'm listening. Mrs. Thompson, who was still perched near the counter, chimed in. That's wise, dear. If you're serious, Mr. Carter, the people will respond. They just want to feel included, and they need to know they can trust you. Her words cut through the tension, but Sarah felt a tight knot in her stomach at the thought of a town hall. What would everyone say if she stood there next to him? Would they look at her with pity or envy? Sarah, Mr. Carter said gently, drawing her attention. I know it might be hard for you, but you only have to think of Ethan. His future could change. This isn't just about you and me. I get that, she replied, her voice trembling. But are you really prepared to deal with whatever comes next? The judgments? The whispers? I have faced tough situations before, he admitted, his expression softening. But I don't want to go through this alone. I want you by my side. Together, we can show them that it's not about the money, it's about the community we can build. Sarah was taken aback by his sincerity. Could she really trust this man? Yet, the knot in her stomach tightened. She felt torn between her instinct to protect her son and the urge to let herself and him dare to hope. Suddenly, Ethan's face floated into her mind. She imagined him, older, with bright possibilities ahead. It felt like a magnetic pull, urging her to take a chance. Just then, one of the locals cleared his throat, pointing at Sarah and Mr. Carter. You two think you can just keep cozying up while the rest of us work hard just to make ends meet? Tension shot through the diner again. The murmurs grew louder, and Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. She exchanged a glance with Mr. Carter, a silent question passing between them. Did they dare to fight for this? Ethan deserves a shot at something better, she finally said, her voice ringing with unexpected strength. I want him to have every opportunity. But I also want everyone to know we're in this together, no matter what. Would they hear her? Would they stand with her or against her and Mr. Carter? As Sarah awaited their reactions, she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down, a mixture of hope and fear swirling inside her. It was a turning point, a chance to change everything. Could they stand strong against the tide of judgment together, or would she falter at the critical moment? The question hung in the air, vibrant and raw. Sarah's next step could define not just her future but Ethan's too. What would she decide? The diner seemed to hold its breath. Sarah's heart raced as she sensed the pulse of curiosity and judgment swirling around her. It was as if time had paused, and every eye was fixated on her words. Would they embrace her plea or scorn the audacity of hope? Together? One of the younger patrons scoffed, crossing his arms defiantly. What do you know about together? You're just here for the ride. Maybe that's the point, Sarah shot back, finding her voice swelling with determination. Sometimes, you have to take a risk to build something real. We've been struggling for so long. Maybe it's time to stop fighting each other and start building something that lasts. Mr. Carter looked at her with admiration, a flicker of pride in his eyes. Sarah's right, he added, stepping forward as if to shield her from the bitter winds of skepticism. This isn't just about money. This is about relationships, rebuilding trust, and working side by side. Relationships? Lou interjected, his eyebrows raised. You think throwing money at us will build relationships? You're dreaming. I know it's more than that, Mr. Carter replied sincerely. If I came across that way, I apologize. I'm here to learn about your needs, your dreams. I want to hear from each of you. I want our collaboration to be as valuable as any dollar amount. The patrons exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering on their faces. The tension was so thick it felt stifling. Sarah's palms were sweaty, but she stood tall. Ethan has big dreams, she said, looking at the crowd, her voice growing steadier with every syllable. But more than that, he needs a community that believes in him. We all want that for our kids, don't we? I'm asking you to give Mr. Carter a chance to prove that he can be part of this place, to be part of us. Silence enveloped the diner again as the people absorbed her words. Sarah felt a wave of vulnerability roll over her. Sharing her dreams for Ethan felt like baring her soul. The intimacy of the moment caught her off guard. Would they laugh, ridicule her for her hope? Finally, an older woman spoke up, her voice firm but kind. Sarah has a point, you know. We all deserve better than this, and if he's genuinely willing to help, maybe we should hear him out. A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite. Could this really be happening? I'd like to add something, Mr. Carter said, taking a step closer to the edge of the booth. I know I can't solve every problem overnight. It'll take work, heart, and commitment. But I promise, I will do everything I can to earn your trust. Lou grunted, still suspicious but slightly softened. All right, we'll see about that. But you better show us you're not just here for your own self-interest. I will, Mr. Carter nodded earnestly. Let us start with that town hall. Please, I want to meet everyone, to listen. As conversations began to bubble again, the tension slowly eased. Sarah felt a warmth spreading in her chest, not just from the moment, but from the possibility of connection hanging in the air. Yet, as the laughter trickled back and journeys of thought began weaving through the diner, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. There was still a mountain ahead to climb, unspoken fears nagging at her mind. Could Mr. Carter truly be trusted? And what if the town turned on them after all? She couldn't dwell on those thoughts now. Ethan's face flickered back into her mind, the vision of a bright future waiting just beyond the horizon. But as she locked eyes with Mr. Carter, and they shared a silent promise, a darker question settled into her heart. Would she be able to navigate the shadows of doubt that were sure to rise as they ventured into the unknown? The diner hummed with new energy around them, and Sarah felt like she stood on the precipice of something momentous. Yet a gnawing fear weighed her down. What would happen when the town learned about Mr. Carter's past? Would the hope they were building wither before it had a chance to bloom? The diner's ambience shifted as conversations resumed, but Sarah's heart still raced. Around her, folks began to laugh cautiously, exchanging glances filled with a mix of disbelief and reluctant hope. Mr. Carter's promise floated in the air, yet it felt fragile, like a bubble that could burst at any moment. Sarah took a deep breath, her pulse settling slightly. This is it, she thought, leaning into the moment. She had stepped into uncharted territory, and for her son, and the town, she needed to guide them toward a brighter future. She looked at Mr. Carter. His eyes spoke of genuine intent, but the past was a heavy shroud. All right, listen up, everyone. Lou's voice cut through the laughter, grounding the room again. I know it takes guts to stand up there and say what you did, Sarah. But we've seen enough outsiders make promises and take off. Why should we give this guy a chance? Because sometimes, Sarah replied, her voice steadying, it takes a little faith to build a bridge. We can't afford not to try. The older woman who had supported Sarah earlier chimed in. What do we have to lose? She asked, her expression contemplative. If he's genuine, maybe this is what we need. But if things go south, she hesitated, searching the crowd for support. Then we'll stand together. We always have. The patrons nodded in agreement, brows furrowing in contemplation. They shared a collective understanding this was their chance, however precarious. They weren't just talking about a project, they were defending their community d'Amar. Carter seemed to sense this shift in energy. "I'm not here to sweep in and fix everything," he said, his tone becoming more personal. "I want to empower you, to support your vision. The only way we can move forward is to do it together." An air of vulnerability hung in the air as a younger man, previously silent, raised his hand. "I lost my father last year. He always said that a strong community can get through anything. If you genuinely want to help, I'll listen." A ripple of agreement swept through the crowd. More voices joined. "Yeah, I'd be willing to try. What's the plan, then? And let us hear him out." With a soft smile, Sarah felt warmth radiate in her chest again. Gradually, they were letting go of their distrust and embracing possibility. It might just be the first step toward healing, not just for them, but for Mr. Carter, too. Yet even in this moment, anxiety gnawed at Sarah. Trust was one thing, uncovering the truth was another. What would happen if Mr. Carter's past came crashing down? Would these connections crumble, or could they withstand the storm? Just then, the door swung open, and an unexpected figure stepped inside. A tall man, wearing a well-tailored suit, swept his eyes over the diner before locking onto Mr. Carter. The tension in the room thickened as whispers erupted among the patrons, eyes darting nervously between the newcomer and their newfound ally. "Is he here to ruin everything?" Sarah thought anxiously, her heart racing anew. The room turned quiet, marked by a palpable suspense as the man approached their table with an air of authority. With every step, Sarah felt the weight of anticipation. What did this man want? A dark undercurrent threatened to overshadow the fragile hope they had just begun to nurture. "Mr. Carter." The newcomer called out, his voice slicing through the charged atmosphere. "We need to talk now." What did he want? Would this be the moment hope crumbled to dust? The air felt electric, and Sarah braced herself for whatever storm was brewing. The newcomer stood tall, his presence commanding. Mr. Carter shifted in his seat, the confidence draining from his face like color from a painting. Anxiety rippled through the diner, whispers bouncing off the walls like errant basketballs. Sarah's heart raced anew, a wild drumbeat echoing the growing tension. "Who is he?" Someone murmured from the back. "Does he know Mr. Carter from that city?" Another voice speculated. With each step the man took, Sarah's gut twisted tighter. She leaned forward, wanting to catch every word, to feel every exchange, but the air grew heavy, almost suffocating. "Is something wrong?" Mr. Carter finally managed to ask, attempting to regain a semblance of control. Though his voice was calm, Sarah detected a tremor underneath, a flicker of fear that mirrored her own. The man, clearly unfazed, responded coolly. "You know very well what's wrong, Carter. We can't keep this quiet any longer. Not after what happened last week." A murmur rose among the patrons. Sarah felt a rush of dread wash over her. What had happened? Her fingers clenched the edge of the table. It wasn't just her life that felt in limbo, it was the town's as well. "Please," Mr. Carter said, his tone dropping low, almost pleading. "Not here. Let us talk outside." "No," the man insisted. "This needs to be said. The townspeople deserve the truth." Sarah exchanged worried glances with her neighbors, their faces chiseled with concern. They had just begun to believe in hope again, only to be met with this. This newcomer threatened to tear apart what fragile threads connected them. "What truth?" she called out, her voice piercing through the thick silence of the diner. "You can't just barge in and expect us to listen. We deserve to know." The man looked at her, his eyes scanning the room, assessing. Then he nodded slightly, as if conceding a point. "All right. Here's the situation. Carter has debt. Serious debt. And the people who own that debt aren't known for their mercy." Shockwaves rippled through the diner. People whispered in disbelief, shoulders stiffening as worries washed over them. Heat surged in Sarah's cheeks. Debt? What does that mean for all of us? I'll explain, the man continued, the authority in his voice hardening. If this project goes through, it could lead to a big payday for him. But it means his promises to you may not be worth what you think. He's in this for himself, not the community. We need to face facts. Sarah felt her heart sink. Her instincts had told her there was more beneath Mr. Carter's polished exterior. The words stung sharp, a flicker of betrayal ignited inside her. She wanted to believe, but how much would it cost? Mr. Carter raised his hands, desperation etched on his face. You have to believe me. I'm trying to turn things around. I want to help. But what if it's all a lie? Came a voice from the back, nodding toward the suited man. What if this is just another charade? A wave of doubt washed over the diner. Sarah felt herself teetering on the edge, both the community she loved and the hope they had just begun to nurture hanging in the balance. The tension felt like a taut string, ready to snap. As Mr. Carter's eyes searched the room, Sarah realized he was more than just an outsider. His future and theirs hung in uncertainty. Suddenly, the door swung wide, revealing another unexpected figure, a woman with a familiar face. Her gaze zeroed in on the scene, and Sarah's breath caught. What new revelation was she bringing this time? The air shifted once more, and Sarah knew that whatever came next could change everything. Would they find a way through the chaos, or would the town's dreams shatter under the weight of unspoken truths? The woman stepped boldly into the diner, her presence igniting a spark of recognition. It was Clara, the town's former mayor, whose unexpected departure months ago had left everyone confused and worried. The whispers around the room softened, replaced by a palpable sense of curiosity. Sarah caught her breath. Clara! Someone exclaimed, and the diner's atmosphere shifted again, as the tension blended with a flicker of hope. Clara moved forward, her eyes darting from Mr. Carter to the imposing newcomer. What is going on here? She asked, her voice steady but urgent. The confident tone held the power of a leader reclaiming her ground. Carter visibly relaxed at her arrival but quickly masked it with a forced expression. Clara, we're having a discussion about some financial difficulties. Clara interrupted, her eyes narrowing. And I'm sure it's a discussion that the townspeople have a right to hear. What exactly are you hiding, Mr. Carter? The diner fell into a hush as all eyes turned toward Mr. Carter, his earlier bravado crumbling like dry leaves. I'm not hiding anything, it's just complicated, he struggled to say, his voice trembling as if the weight of his own secrets was bearing down on him. Yet, the newcomer stepped in again, infusing the moment with threat. Complicated doesn't begin to describe it, he retorted. You're playing with people's lives for your own gain. Clara squared her shoulders, advancing toward the suited man. Who are you, anyway? What do you have to do with this town? The name is Thomas, he replied, his tone clipped. And I know more about what's at stake here than you seem to realize, Mayor. A murmur rippled through the diner again. A few faces turned to Clara, as if waiting for her to respond. Sarah wished desperately for clarity. Thomas, is it? Clara shot back, her voice rising. We may not know each other well, but I'm not going to stand by while you threaten this community. Threaten? Thomas laughed, though the sound felt hollow. Call me whatever you want, but I'm here to protect these people, whether they like it or not. They deserve the truth. Sarah felt a pang of confusion. Was this a man trying to help? Or was he another storm passing through? What does that even mean? She blurted out, the frustration edging into her voice. Her heart pounded wildly in her chest. Can't you see what this is doing to us? This is our home. Clara turned, her eyes catching Sarah's. And that's why I'm back, she said firmly. I may have left because things got too hot, but I see now that I can't run away from the fight. This town has been my life, and I won't let it slip away. Hope bloomed in Sarah's chest, brightening the shadows hanging over the diner. Clara's return was a small dose of reassurance. Combined with the tension of the newcomers, it had ignited a catalyst that could level the playing field. "Shall we expose some truths then?" Clara proposed, stepping closer to Mr. Carter and crossing her arms defiantly. Suddenly, the door swung open again. Two more figures entered, a man and a woman, both familiar faces but unexpected trusts to break the conversation wide open. Sarah's pulse quickened once more. The stakes were rising, and with them, the unmasking of deceit. It felt as if they were on the brink of something monumental, and Sarah could hardly breathe as she waited for whatever would unfold next. Would the voices echoing in the diner finally blend into a solution, or would their separate paths remain broken and scattered like autumn leaves? The new arrivals stepped forward, their expressions a mixture of concern and defiance. The man, Jake, was an old friend of Sarah's, someone she grew up with and shared countless summer afternoons at the lake. Next to him stood Emily, a local journalist known for her fiery articles that often ruffled feathers in town. Sarah felt a rush of relief wash over her. If anyone could uncover the truth, it was this duo. Did we miss the fun? Jake smiled, though his eyes scanned the tense room, assessing the mood. Emily didn't bother with pleasantries. Instead, she turned to Mr. Carter with a piercing gaze. "What is going on, Mr. Carter?" she demanded, her voice slicing through the unease like a knife. "We've all heard the rumors. The town is in danger, and as a journalist, I want facts." Mr. Carter gulped, the color draining from his face. Clara stepped forward again, her determination unwavering. "Jake, Emily, we're on the brink of exposing whatever it is that's haunting this town. I came back to fight for our community. We can't let their stories fade into whispers." The words hung in the air, an anchor for everyone in the diner who felt as if they were losing their grip on their lives. Sarah could feel a surge of solidarity, uniting them all against the chaos swirling just outside the diner's doors. "Let us hear what he has to say," Jake pushed, addressing the group. His voice was calm but firm, adding an undercurrent of resolve to the mounting tension. "If there's a crisis, we should confront it together." Mr. Carter took a shaky breath. I didn't want to say anything that might scare you all, but the town is facing significant financial issues. There's a corporation ready to buy out the main property, the old mill. If that happens, we could lose half our community." Gasps echoed around the room. Sarah, caught off guard, felt her heart race. The mill was more than just a business, it was a symbol of their history, their families, and their future. "Why didn't you tell us this sooner?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling with newfound urgency. "That's not just a financial issue. It's our home." Mr. Carter stuttered, clearly flustered. "I thought I could handle it discreetly. I didn't think it would come to this." "Oh, it will come to this," Emily retorted, her eyes flashing. "But it will only come to this when we confront those who want to take it from us." As if charged with electricity, the room seemed to awaken, a newfound energy rippling through everyone. Clara positioned herself shoulder to shoulder with Emily and Jake, the three of them strong in unity. "Let us gather everyone in town," Clara proposed. "Tonight. We have to inform them and unite for the fight ahead." But Thomas stepped forward again, his arm raised slightly, a warning look crossing his face. "You're all talking about a fight, but there's more to this than you realize. The corporation behind this isn't just any business, it's personal to them. To protect what you love, you're going to have to dig deeper than just surface strategies." A mix of fear and anticipation slithered through the diner as his words sunk in, echoing ominously off the walls. Sarah's breath caught. What were they facing? "Dig deeper?" she whispered, glancing around the room at the concerned faces. "What exactly does that mean?" Thomas met her gaze, and for the first time, Sarah saw a flicker of vulnerability in his stern expression. "It means you might have to confront uncomfortable truths about your own lives and those of your neighbors." An explosive silence followed, a shared realization dawning in the room. As Sarah searched the faces of those around her, she felt a growing fear but also a flicker of determination. The fight for their home was far from over, it had only just begun. What truths awaited them in those shadows? What sacrifices would they have to make to protect everything they held dear? The diner buzzed with a mix of nervous energy and determination. Sarah felt the weight of the moment heavy on her shoulders. As she looked around, she noticed not just fear but a collective spirit igniting around her. It was the same spirit that had filled this small town during bonfire nights and summer fairs. They were ready to fight. Clara broke through the silence again, her voice steady, fueled by adrenaline. We need to find out who's behind this. Who stands to gain from this buyout? Once we know that, we can rally the town. We can show them we're not going down without a fight. Jake nodded, his brow furrowing in concentration. I can help with that. I have some contacts in the city who know the players involved. If we can figure out their motivations, we might be able to reason with them or at least expose them. Great idea, Emily added, her reporter instincts kicking into high gear. But information isn't enough. We need to take action. If we can get a story out there, generate some public interest, the corporation will think twice before targeting us. Thomas stepped back, arms folded, clearly apprehensive. It's not just any corporation. They have deep pockets and connections that run cold. You may be surprised at the lengths they will go to protect their interests. His words hung in the air like a storm cloud, casting a shadow over their budding enthusiasm. Sarah could see Jake's eyes narrow thoughtfully. We'll prepare. We're not alone in this, there are families who depend on the mill for their livelihoods. They'll stand with us. Right, Clara chimed in, her voice rising. Let us split up. Jake, you reach out to your contacts. Emily, we'll need your article to go to the right outlets. I'll talk to the families in town and start gathering support. As they began making plans, Sarah felt a stirring inside her, a mixture of hope and fear. What if they don't listen? What if our efforts are in vain? They will listen, Clara reassured, her confidence washing over Sarah. People will rally when they see we're serious. We can't let them walk all over us. The diner door swung open, and a gust of cold air swept in, causing everyone to shiver. The sound of footsteps approached. It was old Mr. Thompson, the town's oldest resident. He walked slowly but with purpose, his cane tapping rhythmically against the floor. I heard shouting, he said, his voice low but firm. What's happening? Before anyone could respond, Clara motioned for silence. Mr. Thompson, we're in trouble. The corporation plans to buy the mill and disrupt our community. We're trying to fight back. His eyes widened with disbelief. Not the mill. That place has stood since my father was a lad. It's a symbol of our heritage. It is, Emily agreed, but we need everyone to help us expose this. We can't let greed take over our lives again. Mr. Thompson looked around, his expression shifting from concern to fierce resolve. In my day, we fought for what was right. I still have a few stories left to tell. Let us make sure this town doesn't lose its heart. Emotions surged as everyone began to nod in agreement. They were ready to join forces. They were ready to protect their history, their families, and their future. As plans solidified, Sarah felt a wave of heat rise within her, fueled by a fierce loyalty to her community, but as they made their arrangements, a lingering doubt gripped her. What buried truths was Thomas alluding to? What shadows were they preparing to face? As they delved deeper into their plans, the question lingered ominously, would the strength of this old town be enough to withstand the storm brewing just beyond their borders? In the heart of Maplewood, the diner buzzed with a newfound energy. As rumors swirled around like the steam rising from coffee cups, Sarah stood at the center, a whirlwind of emotion. Mr. Carter sat at her side, vulnerability etched onto his face as they braced for the impending storm. It's time, Clara announced, her voice firm and resolute. Tonight, We gather everyone in town to share what we know. We stand together. No hiding from this anymore. Her determination spread like wildfire, igniting a sense of purpose in each heart around the table. Sarah felt her throat tighten, fear and excitement dancing together. She thought of Ethan, his innocent face lighting up with hope, and that spurred her on. "We cannot let them take our home," she said, her voice steady, echoing Clara's sentiment. "We need everyone, every family there." "I can post it on social media," Emily said, her journalist spirit shining through. "Let us spread the word. The community needs to see that they're not alone in this fight." The clatter of utensils halted as everyone nodded sagely, exchanging glances of determination. Just outside the diner, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the town. It felt like a spotlight illuminating their collective resolve. Sarah stepped out, inhaling the crisp evening air. All around her, whispers of hope started to ripple through the streets, like a gentle breeze spreading resilience. As the townsfolk gathered, Sarah's heart raced in her chest. She could see familiar faces, neighbors she had grown up with, many weary from the hard times, all believing they were standing at the edge of change. "Listen up, everyone," she called, her voice breaking the chatter. Silence spread across the crowd like wildfire as they turned their attention toward her. "We're here tonight because we have a fight," she began, her heart pounding, every word rooted in conviction. "Our beloved mill is under threat, and it isn't just about walls and machinery. It's about our families, our dreams, our community." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. Eclectic emotions hung in the air, urgency coiling tightly. Clara stepped forward. "We have gathered the facts. Mr. Carter has opened up about the corporation threatening our mill. And while there may be work to do in building trust with him, what we need most right now is unity." Thomas stood next, his earlier stoicism melting into concern. "We can't afford to see this as just another transaction. This is personal, and if we band together, we can fight." A sense of camaraderie emerged, weaving invisible threads of connection among them. They began to share their stories, snippets of lives entwined with the mill, whispers of family legends that marked its significance in Maplewood. As the sun retreated behind the hills, lanterns flickered to life, casting a warm glow that illuminated each animated face. In that moment, hope transformed into action. "We can organize a petition," Jake shouted, rallying the crowd. "We'll contact the media, and heck, if we need to picket, we will. Let us bring the heritage back to Maplewood," shouted Mr. Thompson, his voice steady with the weight of years gone by. Sarah inspired a breath in her lungs. "And we'll do this together. No more standing alone, this is our fight. For Ethan, for every child and family in this town. We are stronger when we unite." With shared spirit buzzing through the air, signs were crafted, messages wrote. They held hands, forming a human chain of assurance and solidarity, a bond that was unwavering. Every heart beat in unison, a chorus of hope that echoed well past the horizon. In the days that followed, the town came alive. Each member channeled their energy into the protest. Sarah watched, tears gleaming in her eyes, as her neighbors banded together. Love for their community infused every effort. Even Mr. Carter found his place within the rallying cry, embracing the challenge with them. But the real miracle emerged not just from the efforts to save the mill, but in how they saved each other, finding strength in vulnerability, trust in connection, and warmth in shared meals afterward, laughter marking the corners of their gathering space. The diner thrummed with new life, reclaiming its purpose as a safe harbor. When the day of reckoning arrived, the community stood outside the corporation's looming facade, signs held high, voices united in purpose. And it was then, amidst the tumult of chants filled with sincerity, that a breakthrough happened. As they engaged in dialogue with the powers that threatened their heritage, Sarah felt the weight of uncertainty melt away. She realized that she had accepted something much deeper than the scholarship. She had embraced the essence of community, a lesson her father would have been proud of. Sarah looked at Mr. Carter beside her, then scanned the faces of her neighbors, understanding dawning in her heart. This wasn't just about struggling to hold on to something. They were building a brand new future together. Together, they faced a new day filled with possibility. Through trials, triumphs, and the deep-rooted relationships they had forged, Maplewood embraced a future not born from fear, but from hope. Their commitment to family, tradition, and one another promised to shape a legacy no corporation could ever take away. "We did this together," Sarah shouted, her voice slicing through the noise, her heart full to bursting with pride and gratitude. And they cheered, a wave of connection washing over them, a living testament that as long as they stood together, they were invincible. Now is the moment to show your support and help keep the stories alive. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive tales that inspire and transform. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let others experience it too. Comment below your reactions and let us know how this journey touched your heart. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the love and hope. Only true fans understand the importance of uplifting our collective spirit through these actions.